What's good? What's good? What's good? People, what's up? It's your boy Carcino here. Hope everybody is doing well. Now, here's the situation. Mm-mm-mm. Out their minds. People's out their minds. Texting me crazy stuff. Anyway, hit the like button, good people. We about to get into it. Ah. Now, want to say, want to donate to the page? The Cash App is Carcino, Karceno. And let's go. Now, when you look at all the things that were done, period, like on the table, as far as comedy, in the past 10 years, if you ask anybody who's the funniest comedian, they gonna tell you Dave Chappelle. Oh, Dave Chappelle, Dave Chappelle. And I remember I first heard about the Chappelle show. It was already out, and it was like season one. And these white people in Vegas kept following me, thinking I was Dave Chappelle. It was quite interesting. Now, here's the truth behind the beef with Dave Chappelle and Paul Mooney. Yeah, I know what you're finna say. What? That don't make no damn sense. Well, you wanna hear it? Here you go. Dave Chappelle, when he was young and starting out in the game, his comedy was more freeform, but he was very talented with the way he set up his jokes, just naturally. That other people had put them under, took him under his wing, and was giving him tips. I forgot, man. My man from DC Cab actually, before Eddie Murphy, he was Eddie Murphy, and he had substance abuse problems, but he was the guy who beat Eddie Murphy out for the role of Saturday Night Live, but he couldn't read. So when it came to reading the teleprompters and reading the boards, he couldn't really do it. And he just didn't want to do it no more, and they had to end up going with Eddie Murphy. So he had beaten Eddie Murphy out when he auditioned, but when it got down to it, it was like this guy just can't read, really. So he went back just, telling jokes outside for free. But it strengthened him as a comedian as he worked with other writers. And Dave Chappelle got stronger because it is very hard to stand in the middle downtown somewhere and just stand up and start telling jokes in front of people live on the spot. That makes you a different type of comedian. So it made Dave strong. strong in his stage performance, confident. Now, Paul Mooney was someone who was a rebel, who kind of resembled everything he was doing. Dave Chappelle, he pretty much had given up on acting, movies, whatever. Because when How High was out, and hitting the theaters and the launch didn't go well, his father passed away. A lot of people don't know that. But Dave Chappelle's father passed away during the middle of that. Um, it was he had a stroke, and he was just, like, health was diminishing every day since then. So Dave was ready to give up Hollywood, and the movie thing wasn't really working for him. So he had went on a farm and was just staying there and was just gonna stay on the farm and just write. And then Neil Brennan, his comedy buddy, who they came up together doing stand up together, started writing on concepts and having ideas. And Dave Chappelle had all these ideas, man. And long story short, you guys have all seen the Chappelle show. So this was an opportunity for him to bring in some people that can help bring in some different minds. So it ain't just Dave, doing this show. Now, Dave Chappelle, and this is gonna lead right up until what we got coming on the Patreons, saying the real reason Dave Chappelle went to Africa. That's gonna be on the Patreon on in April, kicking it off. So this kind of is like leading up. This is the prequel to that. So anyway, he gets the show, right? While he's doing the show, he brings in a lot of writers, and one of the writers in the first season is a friend of his that's very close. Guy who knew Richard Pryor, Eddie, everybody. Paul Mooney. He loved Paul's style. Paul just didn't give a damn. Loves his stand-up. He always wanted to have Paul Mooney do something on the show. So Paul was like, Hollywood doesn't like me. Dave, if you put me on TV, 5 minutes later they're gonna take your show. They take everything from a nigga. Every time they give you something, they take it away. They say it's yours, but it's really theirs. Then they take it away from you. They do it to everybody. I'm telling you, they got people ready for you right now, Dave. Your replacement's right now. He's dressing up in these same clothes you wear. And he's practicing your lines. They got him training. But yeah, I'll write. But I don't want to be on TV. No, don't put me on TV. I'll just stay in the background and write. Yeah. I don't think comedy. This thing's only gonna last a season, Dave. Don't get too attached. So Paul Mooney agrees to do it, complains the whole time, right? So they end up paying Paul as a writer. So everything is fine. There's no problem. So he has this thing called that they'll let him do, where he can just be on there for a little bit, just to tell some jokes, called Ask a Black Dude, right? Because they were like, this is a funny thing that we came up with. Like questions that people always wanted to know but was afraid. So we went and got a black dude to do it. So when they did Ask a Black Dude, so it wouldn't just single out just black. They had a gay guy on there. Like Ask a Gay Guy. Right? So they had two on there, and then they were going to have ask a white guy something, and it was getting out of control because some of the answers Paul Mooney was giving were just off the chart. And then they had Dave Chappelle walking the streets asking like celebrities questions, and it was scenes that we haven't seen because it was edited out for you know just to fit television. They were like, oh well, we can't take that one. We'll take some of the ones that we thought was funny. And so when it originally aired, and then you hear Paul Mooney's responses to some of the Ask a Black Man questions, and he had said something that was like completely over the line, like, and then it would make the person who did it look bad or be uncomfortable. So they called him in there and said, well, we love you. You're a great person. Give him the whole spiel of, we in your corner. There's no one like you in the world. We want to, put the arm around him and tell him this is how to do it. So he writes another one. Like they do a sequel and all this stuff. But he's like, we had television, we had to edit things for time. To make the time stream. Like we cut and edit everything. We just try to take the best out of everything before we edit it. So Paul's like, okay. So Paul does Ask a Black Guy, and it doesn't go the way Paul likes it. So when they kind of just left it at those little episodes. So when season 2 and everything was going to come around, and it was like, hey, we're going to do Ask a Black Dude. Man, I don't want to do that no more. No, I don't want to do that. No, I don't like the way they try to, put me on display. I don't like that. Not like that. Let's come up with something different. That's gonna get tired. It's gonna get tired, Dave. I got a different idea. And they came up with Negro Damas, which was a better version of Ask a Black Dude. He became a guy who could tell people's futures without just saying Ask a Black Guy. It was just so they had Negro Damas. Then they had Mooney on Films. Because all of this went with his stand-up. Mooney on Films was basically a skit that they were going to do to have Paul Mooney just kind of go into his comic routine in his lineup, where he talked about movies. It led into the jokes, and if you've seen Mooney stand-up, he tells those jokes a lot about how Hollywood is crazy. Hollywood's just crazy. I mean, they got Brad Pitt as the Mexican, Tom Cruise as the Last Samurai. I'm going to make a movie called The Last Nigga on Earth, starring Tom Hanks. So when he starts, doing these lines and doing all this stuff, everything was going good. And then one time, the show, like Paul Mooney was a hit, Negro Dominance was a hit, right? So they decided to make some changes to the actual script. And what they did was, like, they just made some, some of his writing. Dave added some things to it, and that's when he found out you don't mess with Paul Mooney. Like, you don't mess with his writing, and you damn sure don't touch. You don't touch his script or his writing. You don't touch his bits. You don't edit any of it. Like, you don't bother that. If y'all want to trim things for time, that's fine, but don't alter his writing. So when he did that, Dave did that, man. He he lit Dave up. Lit him up. You know who you reminded me of, Dave. They did this to Flip West. They did the same thing to Flip. Do you know Flip was one of the rawest? He was made. He makes me look like a doggone Christian. I look like a pastor boy. I look like a no, what do you say, altar boy. I was an altar boy compared to Flip Wilson. All Flip was amazing. And you know what happened to Flip? They gave Flip his own show. They gave Flip all this money. Flip said, "Well, damn. I said I would never take the money and run, or take the money and start shaking my butt. But I'm willing to do that. Now, you want to be a Garrett Morris for these people who gonna steal your show. They're gonna steal it, Dave. This is what they're gonna do. This is what they do. It's Hollywood. It's crazy, Dave. It's crazy. Trust me. I've seen it happen to Richard. I've seen it happen to everybody. They took Eddie Murphy PJs off of the air for no reason. All because a black man came up with the animation and was doing all this work. Had all these black people in the animation. And they said, why are we having this Negro in here doing this? We don't need him. We're going to take him out. And we're going to make white folks do it. Watch. Now what? They got Eddie out there performing on Shrek, paying him a check when Eddie Murphy could have just made the PJs movie. But he didn't. He didn't. He kept his mouth shut and took his money. Now he's Dr. Doolittle. Well, he's Professor Clump Doolittle or something. That's going to be you, Dave. You go down this road. But don't ever touch my writing. I'll walk out. I'll walk out right now. So Dave was, man, I did not know this meant so much to you. I mean, I won't touch any of it. Look, I understand that. I was just trying to help and try to make the thing funnier. But if you want, wherever you want it to go, Paul, that's the way it's going to be. We ain't got no problems. I understand that. So go ahead and do it how you want to do it. So after this, problems escalate again. And I know you probably like, damn, what is going on? You see, when things ain't right, they just ain't right. Paul Mooney was offered a show on Comedy Central. And his show was going to be real criminal cases that they decide to waive and throw out. But they were going to bring that in front of Paul Mooney. And he was going to be this fake judge. And he's going to sit up there and basically like try these cases and just basically just talk about these people like they were nothing. And it was like Judge Mooney. which looked like a skit was actually going to be a show. And there's people up there twerking. Like it was like written out. Like this person's gonna be twerking up there when they get the verdict, and Mooney just was going off on these people. I think they actually filmed like 6 or 7 episodes. So Neil Brennan, Dave Chappelle's partner, is really behind it, helped setting this up. He was like, Dave, oh, this is going to be great. We're going to have, everybody do like spin-off shows on Comedy Central. So Comedy Central, that's what was going to happen. Charlie Murphy was going to have a show on Comedy Central. This was what they were, the avenue they were going down. Everybody's going to get spin-offs. Charlie Murphy was getting large on the show too. So they was going to have Charlie Murphy do these Hollywood stories and make it like through the roof. So Paul Mooney thinks, because decided they was making some changes on his show, the Paul Mooney thing, and he just blows up. He goes in the meeting, then just out of the blue, just starts bashing people. And it was crazy because he was upset at Dave Chappelle and he wouldn't speak to Dave. And Dave was like, why is Paul Mooney mad at me? Like, he didn't even understand it. So he found out Paul Mooney was pissed at Dave for going back and talking to Wayne Brady and kind of basically throwing him under the bus with Wayne Brady and bringing Brady on the show. It was almost like he played him and that he was working for the studio. He was really upset about that. He brings Wayne Brady on the show. And then after laughing with me when I'm doing the skit and everything else, and he's laughing, oh, this is funny. It's a funny skit. He's laughing uncontrollably. He goes behind my back, calls Wayne Brady, and says, Wayne, I want you to know I didn't have anything to do with that. That was Paul Mooney. Like they couldn't see that was Paul Mooney on the screen. I don't give a damn about anybody. I'll say it when I say it, I mean what I say. But when Dave Chappelle did that, it showed me the type of person he really was. Wayne Brady came up to me and just said, I want to let you know that wasn't funny. And I'll be like, I agree. You're not funny, Wayne Brady. I watched your whole skit. I did not laugh once. It's like, I wanted to tell you face to your face. He said, is it doing for you what you thought it was going to do for you? Because my opinion of you still haven't changed. They took your show from you, didn't they? Yeah, and you're still buck dancing. You're probably ready to buck dance right now for another show. Don't tell me nothing about Wayne Brady. Now, Dave, I don't want to talk to Dave. I'm going to work on my own show. I'm not coming back to work on Chappelle's show ever again. No, I'm done. So he was done. Paul didn't want nothing to do with it. He was going to go work on the Paul Mooney show. So Neil Brennan is setting all this up like, that's okay. You can just deal with me. Trust me, I'm Neil Brennan. I'm right here for you, brother. So Paul Mooney is dealing with Neil. They get in there to the office and everything, and right away they was talking about bringing in some other comedians. They had some people that they were working with, and that was going to be on the show and make appearances. Donnell Rollins was going to make some appearance on the show, and they were going to start bringing some people over from the Chappelle show and some other comedians. And it was these white comedians that Paul had never met and never seen. He was going to bring on the show, and let me stop you right there. You already tried to do it. Now, when we did it, you guys said you have full autonomy. You can pull whoever you want on the show. I don't know this guy, so you want to make my show look ridiculous. This is supposed to be real cases, and you want one of the persons to be a comedian, some unknown comic. People are gonna know he's a comic, and they're gonna know he's playing a role. And he's gonna come in there to try to one up me, and they're gonna look at my show and go, "Oh, this isn't real." I know that comedian. These people got the internet, man. It's crazy. They can pull up the guy's whole information. Then it's gonna make my show look bad. No, I'm not doing it. You guys are crazy. You know, I know you playing with your daddy's money. All y'all. I bet y'all went to a college and got drunk all night and didn't do anything with your life. And now you got your daddy's company to run. And you're gonna run it right into the ground because you don't know what you're doing. When you get it right, call me. I'm gonna be at home. So when he starts talking like this, studio's like, I don't know about working with this guy. The same thing happened with Mad TV. Ari Spears loved Paul Mooney. wanted to pull Paul on the show. Like, I want to get Paul on the show. Like, I want to bring him onto the network. I want Paul Mooney to be front line and center. So they were gonna bring him on Mad TV, and they had him in there, and he met everybody in the office and everything, and he was like, "So, how do you feel about Mad TV?" Well, I feel like it's my show. Everybody's just stealing all my jokes, stealing all my bits, and putting them on TV. So hell, I might as well be getting paid for it. They did not like Paul Mooney's responses to the questions. It was like he was trying to sabotage them. Don't act like I don't see all you white folks at my show with your pad and pens and trying to write it down so you can bring it here and put it on your shit show. So it's about time I get paid. Everybody comes back and get their money. I just happen to be still alive to come back and get mine. Where do I sign? So, as you can see, that didn't go over well. So the Paul Mooney incident with Wayne Brady, that's what like damaged the relationship with Dave Chappelle and Paul Mooney when it came down to the trust. He saw another side of Dave Chappelle that he didn't like, and it was a slimy, backstabbing type of side that was a bit selfish, and he was doing what was best for Dave's show. So he felt betrayed, and he was mad at Dave about that. Dave tried to apologize 1,000 different ways, saying I shouldn't have done it that way, and he did it 1,000 times. Look, Dave, that's what I told myself. I said, look, Dave, you owe Paul Mooney an apology, because you shouldn't have did it like that. I should not have called Wayne Brady and brought him to the show and had it go that way. I should have came to you first and said, look, I'm going to talk to and smooth everything out with Wayne Brady, because I know Wayne is not going to like what's going on here. Now, Wayne Brady put out an interview where he lies saying, I wasn't even feeling a certain way about it, and, because I'm kind of used to hearing it, and I get a call from Dave Chappelle saying, Wayne, I love you, man. Like, I just want to let you know, man, that joke was Paul Mooney. I had nothing to do with that. And I think you're amazing. And I want to know if you want to do a skit on my show. And, I want to bring you on the show. You could do a skit. And I've written out something we think you will like. And you let us know if you like it and everything else, and we can work on it. So, right away, this was a lie. Because once that happened, he was upset. And word had gotten back to Dave Chappelle that Wayne Brady was mad because people talk about how he ain't black enough. And so he was offended. So that's why Dave made the call. He didn't make the call just because. Like, let me just call Wayne Brady out of the blue. He said, well, get me in contact with Wayne. I'll talk to him personally. And that's how he tried to smooth that over, so it wouldn't be negative press and all that. Because you don't want to make Wayne Brady upset. And it made for an epic skit. But in the process, by him airing out Mooney, that was Mooney! And keep throwing Paul Mooney under the bus. It just didn't seem right with Mooney. So he felt the kind of way, and he's a kind of hard person to work with in this business. So, yeah, a lot of the people didn't like Paul Mooney because they felt like, I don't think he really likes me too much. Oh, that's Paul. You got to give him 6 years. Ain't that right, Paul? 6 years. And then you love everybody. If you could be around me 6 years, damn it, I must be doing a damn good job. I normally drive everybody away every 3 years. Richard had to go away for about 3-4 years and come back. Be like, yeah, it's crazy out there. You were right. Everything you said. It's crazy. I don't even go outside my house no more. Oh, this is what's going on today? Oh, that's crazy. So anyway, that's what really happened. So, Comedy Central decided not to do the Paul Mooney show. They were willing to do it, but then when they were going through their friction with Dave started to see the things Paul Mooney was talking about, that he thought Paul was just being funny, being a comedian, being a joker. He started to see what was going on here. And that Paul Mooney wasn't as crazy as people thought he was. He wasn't just being funny. He started to see this thing starting to develop. And that's going to go into the Patreon version of what Dave Chappelle jumped up and went to Africa. What did he see? What did he know? What did he do? It's gonna be a wild ride. But anyway, I'm out of here. Hope you hit the like button, subscribe to the page, hit that notification bell. There's 4 videos here. Click on them. One of them might be one you want to see. Deuces.